Now, when we look at this trade over here, you can see the same thing happen. We had a divergence pattern here. Price was creating a double top, and then we saw the TDI was creating a lower high. And then we see price was perfectly right here, just rejecting off of this pivot point. You couldn't get no better than this type of setup.
Started from the bottom like Drake. Got that young Mueller, but I learned my mistakes. Climbing up the ladder, gotta watch out for the snakes. If you wanna be the boss, then you have to delegate.
Hello guys and girls, and welcome back. It's your boy Big John here. The app's at the bottom of the screen if you like to listen to my music. So is all the relevant information I'll be speaking about in this video. And today what we're going to be talking about is how we can use free indicators to find intraday scalping trades on US30. And if you'd like to find out who the Neo competition winners are, make sure you stay tuned. At some point in the video, I'm going to release who those winners are. So make sure you watch the video all the way through. Now let's get straight into the strategy. Okay, so I have three indicators on my chart. I have the trader's dynamic index. I have a 200 moving average. And I also have the pivot point standard indicator that comes with TradingView. You just have to type it in the indicators section. Okay, now we've got all of that out of the way, let's get into what the strategy actually looks like when it's on the chart. So just as I explained in the Confluence list, we are going to be looking for price to be rejecting off of a pivot point or finding a support on a pivot point. And then we want to make sure that we're only taking sells underneath the 200 moving average and we're taking buys above the 200 moving average. And then the last thing we're looking for is our shark fin to give us the indication that the TDI is ready for a buy or a sell. So you can see when we look at this trade right over here that we had a shark fin that did appear here, but price was nowhere near this pivot point. So when price got closer to the pivot point, which was here, we started to look at this trade and we started to now say, okay, are we going to take this trade now that it did turn red? So once you get to that period there, you can be in a position where, you look at price and you say, okay, it hasn't exactly touched the pivot point. Do I want to take this trade? So even if you didn't take this trade, if you was watching this trade unfold, as we know, this is one whole day here, you would have seen that there was a divergence pattern. So the divergence pattern that occurred, like I spoke about in my last video, the link to that will just be right up in the top of the screen. You can see right over here that price was creating a higher high, but then the TDI was creating a lower high. So therefore, this was an indication that this is possibly a trade, even though price wasn't exactly right next to the pivot point. So you might have decided to take that trade. And if you did, of course, this was a winning trade. The trade did have to go on for at least another 2 days, but eventually the trade did hit take profit, which was perfect. So that was a winning trade. Then we move over to our next trade here. And I do want people to know I am not cherry picking these trades. If you want to, you can go and back test this yourself and see how it does work. I am doing this strategy on the 15-minute time frame. I want to make sure that's clear because people will ask me in the comments. This is the 15-minute time frame. So now when we're explaining this trade here, you can see straight away that we had our shark fin and our TDI. Price was right beside the pivot point here, and it was also under the 200 moving average. So we should have only been looking for a sell. And we can see what happened when we did enter, when the TDI turned red, right down here, that price sold. But of course, we didn't hit our take profit until the next day. So that was currently 2 winning trades. And the same thing like this will work on NAS 100 as well, and it works on indices pretty well. So I would like people to know that. If you want me to make a video showing you on NAS 100, I've got no problem. Again, leave me 100 likes, 25 comments. I will make a video on NAS 100. Let's get the YouTube going. Come on, guys and girls. So we can see here that price is above the 200 moving average. We can also see on the TDI that price is creating a divergence here. We're seeing a higher low being formed on the TDI, and we're seeing price creating a lower low when it comes to price action. And then what do we see here? Price is very close to this support level right here, which is the pivot point, and we can see price buying up from there. Now what we're looking for, exactly what was said in the risk management section of this video, you can see we're looking for a 1 to 2 trade. So we can see our trade here says 2. This trade obviously didn't hit R2. It did hit around about 1.45, which isn't bad. So in all fairness, you should have had at least a break even in this trade and possibly have taken partial profits. What does work really well for take profit levels are these pivot points. So even if you're trying to get a 1 to 2 trade, you can still use these pivot points as take profit levels, because of course the market could react to those levels. Now when we move over to here, we should only be looking for a sell. So when we look at this trade here was at least a win. Still, that's what I'm going to take it as, but it wasn't a full win. Now when we look at this trade over here, you can see the same thing happen. We had a divergence pattern here. Price was creating a double top, and then we saw the TDI was creating a lower high, and then we see price was perfectly right here, just rejecting off of this pivot point. You couldn't get no better than this type of setup. There was no break whatsoever. You also had the 200 moving average holding price down, exactly what we would love to see, and no break through this pivot point right here in the support. We also had a divergence pattern appear and a shark fin TDI, and what we're looking for, because price is underneath the 200, we're looking for a sell, and this is how you had a beautiful sell here. Day one, a 2 risk to reward ratio, and you would have made bank on this day. Neo, the indicator with Telegram alerts, is an all-in-one break and retest indicator. Neo is set up to help traders find an entry into the market for long-term trades. Based from the daily, weekly, and monthly time frame, the Neo alerts will help you identify high probability setups, meaning long-term consistency. Straightforward and easy to get set up. All you need is access to the Telegram group to get the alerts. Signing up for Neo is not hard at all. All you have to do is message me in Discord or Telegram, and if you are in there, you will be able to see the charts I post with take profit levels in there, and you will also be able to see the news alerts I do explain about the market whilst we're in the trades together. I hope this helps everybody when it comes to understanding what Neo can do for them and if they would like to get the service. The winners of the competition are as follows. Now when we go over to this trade over here, we can see the same thing. So you would have entered right here, and why would you have entered here? Now you can see there was a shark fin again. Price is underneath the 200. We can see it's finding a resistance around this level here, and even if it did push back up, it's not a problem at all, because price never hit our safe stop loss area. And then what do we see when we go into the next couple of days? We see exactly this. We see price hitting our TP going in by the 3rd day, which is absolutely fantastic. So we're having a lot of wins here, and this is why this is called a very consistent strategy, because you can see what happens. You just have to be patient for the setup, and when it appears, you have to be willing to take it. So now when we go into the next setup, this is not a setup. Even though it was a nice entry, you can see prices broke through. So where price broke through, it's giving us an indication we're not too sure if price is going to buy from here. So we are not entering on a trade like this. We want it to stay underneath or above. So when we can see here, we can see the same thing. We see a shark fin TDI right over here. See where price is. Price is very close to the pivot point, not exactly next to it, but again, if you've got the safe risk management plan in play, then you can see your stop loss would have been up here, so you had room to breathe. And of course, by the 2nd day, price hit your take profit level, another win. So we'll keep moving forward, and I've checked all of these. You can see none of these are what is needed. We're not looking for that buy. We wouldn't have been looking for no sells here. We'd only been looking for a buy. Again, we just move forward. And then when we get over to this section over here, we can see straight away that we have price going all the way down. We have a shark fin here. Even though we had the shark fin here at first, again, look how far price was away from the pivot point. Look where the shark fin was, look where the pivot point is. So you would have been waiting. This is why we have these extra confluences. You'd have been looking to get in this trade and for the buy, and your stop loss would have been down there, and look at this, boom. So it wasn't until the 2nd day again. So you can see most of these trades seem to be taking about 2 days to play out for the trades to actually move to where they need to get to. And we can see here straight away, nice take profit here. So I believe this was our first losing trade. So you would have taken this trade most likely, because you can see divergence was appearing on the TDI again. Price was very close, wasn't exactly next to it. So again, this is down to the trader who wants to take it. It wasn't exactly on the level, but it was very close to this pivot point. We know that it's a buy because price is above the 200 moving average. So if you would have got in anywhere, you would have got in right here, or you could have even got in here, to be fair, and your stop loss would have been below here. Of course, you would have been looking for a trade to go further up, and this trade did not hit your take profit. it actually did do at least a 0.72, about that, in terms of risk to reward. So of course it didn't hit your take profit. Ideally, you could have either had a break even, or you would have just called it a loss. So we're just going to call this a loss, and we can see price obviously hit our stop loss over here 2 days later. And we can see again here, we're seeing a beautiful break of the 200 moving average. We're seeing an amazing pullback. And even though we saw a shark fin here on the TDI, we did not enter because why? Price was nowhere near the pivot point for a sell. You can see as price got closer to the pivot point, we started to see more shark fins, then it turned red here. So if anything, you would have been in this trade around this level. Your safe stop loss would have been above here. So it's never directly on this one, it would be above the next one or below it. And then you would have been in this trade, and by the next day, you can see straight away you would have won this trade. Again, when we move over to here, simple setups, very beautiful trade again. Price is underneath the 200 moving average. 200 is acting as a resistance. Also, the pivot point is acting as a resistance. So we have two indications of a possible resistance point here. And then we also have a pullback entry on the TDI, which is our shark fin. We would have entered on that candle, would have been in this trade, stop loss up here, take profit here. Very, very good strategy, and it seems to be working so well at the moment. I've traded many different ways like this, even on different pairs and stuff like that. You have to remember you need the account size to be able to trade US30, because you won't be able to put this type of stop loss if you do not have the account size to do it, as stated in the risk management at the beginning of the video. So on that note, guys and girls, I hope you loved this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. If you'd like to see any other videos like this on US30, gold, or anything, just let me know in the comments below, or come into the Discord and let me know as well. I can help you out. So with those words being said, peace.
Started from the bottom like Drake. Got that young moolah, but I learned my mistakes. Climbing up the ladder, gotta watch out for the snakes. If you wanna be the boss, then you have to delegate.